This video is brought to you by BINDWOOD Gaming. More on them later.
You went to Fall Guys, I went to. He has murdered his management team to be here with us today. That is commitment. And if you do not have that at your table, then who are you playing
If you're not willing to murder your manager to get to the table, really question your
all in the name of D&D. I'm pretty sure the judge would understand.
Oathbreaker Paladins.
We're rolling dice, camera, action.
Hello and welcome to the BBEG Podcast. Today you've got Will and you've got M, because unfortunately the princess is in another castle and the BBEG has struck again. This time, kidnapping Hattie.
The workplace has, snatched her away from us. Not even working from home where we can sneak. Well, we've never done that anyway.
No. I've had a dramatic escape though. I killed at least 4 guards. I mean, at FBI, that is a joke.
You went to Fall Guys, I went to. He has murdered his management team to be here with us today. That is commitment. And if you do not have that at your table, then who are you playing
If you're not willing to murder your manager to get to the table, really question your
all in the name of D&D. I'm pretty sure the judge would understand.
Oathbreaker Paladins. But that's not what we're here to discuss today. Today we're here to discuss the fighter. Now, I've never played a fighter. I have played an NPC fighter, which was like a one-off for a couple of sessions. You ever played a fighter before?
Yeah, my second ever character was a fighter.
Was it?
Yeah, I actually really enjoyed it because we all know how I love my magic when it comes to D&D, which was something I wasn't sure if I was going to enjoy. I think I enjoyed the character and what I made of him more than the class itself. But I had a great time because I picked a rune knight. So I kind of had my little magical flair. He was a dragonborn, which I've referenced before, and we homebrewed him.
Was that the one that could do...
It was a rainbow scale.
Damage. That's it, rainbow scale.
So I had to roll each time I used a breath weapon to find out what breath was going to come out.
I say rainbow damage. That doesn't make sense. That's silly.
Very LGBTQ plus friendly. But yeah, so I enjoyed it, and then I've played with fighters and I've DM'd fighters. Yeah, I think if you're learning D&D for the first time, fighter is the easiest one just to step into, because I think the mechanics are easy to understand. It's easy to get a grasp of, and I don't mean spend an entire campaign. I mean, if you just want to test the waters, do a one shot, and to not be overwhelmed, because though I love some of the other classes, when you're reading it for the first time, there's a lot of words and jargon that not everyone grasps, because let's face it, the language they use and everything that they write sometimes is a bit...
This book is sometimes so confusing.
Yeah.
I've not played a spellcaster because I'm just still trying to wrap my head around it.
But I had to... My nephews really wanted to give it a go.
Cute.
And at this age, they were 10 and 8.
Yeah.
Maybe 9 and 7. It was during the lockdown.
To our cult.
It was during the lockdown sort of time. So I went over to my sister's house when the bubbles were allowed. Went to my sister and brother-in-law's house and played with them all. Gave them all characters that I had pre-made for them to keep it as fun and as simple as possible. Because we all love games, but I'm not sure D&D would have ever been their thing. So I wanted to make it fun and interesting. Yeah. So I made both my nephews Dragonborn fighters.
I mean, that's at 9 and you're good. You're playing a dragon.
Yeah, exactly. And I only took them all to level 2, so they didn't have to worry about subclasses yet. I did give them a different fighting style each, so one could do one thing, one could do another. Yeah, just good. For a bit of diversity and flair. They were different types of dragonborn, so one could do a fire cone and one could do a lightning beam.
Okay, yeah. So you still had a little bit of individuality, a little bit of flair.
So they still got to have that enjoyment of, this is exciting, without being bombarded by mechanics. Because let's face it, even at 10 years old, and then I was having my sister and my brother-in-law who'd never played, so made her. So
they can't even. Oh, they played as well.
Yeah, they played.
It was fantastic.
It was a family setting.
I love that.
We did it. So obviously, I'm helping out as much as possible. But Kath was a ranger, elf, again level 2. So I had a set fighting style, which was basically her archery, and then I made Simon a cleric.
Need a healer?
Need a healer.
Because heaven forbid you put your nephews in death saves and there's no one there to revive.
Well, I thought a ranger and a cleric would be the best way to demonstrate magic without it being overwhelming.
Without having to keep track of points and twin spells.
And then also for me to keep track of, to help them if they go, I don't understand what this does.
Mm-hmm.
And they loved it. And then my nephews were like, especially my eldest nephew, was like, I want to do more. And then at one point he was sending me stories of like one shots he was writing, and I was like, I have converted the child.
No, you've made him a creative. Dun, dun, dun.
He takes after me. He sings and whatnot. He's colorblind too. So yeah.
Bonding.
Twinning.
But back to Fighter, I think you did the right thing. Fighter on paper is simple to read. It's only when we get to subclasses, we talk about the Eldritch Knight, where you have to actually think a little bit. Let's mention some words that's not bonk real hard, real quick.
Yeah.
So let's break down the Fighter and just see how it's an entry level. I don't want to say entry level.
I just think it's the easiest one to understand if you've never played D&D before.
It's one of the most human classes.
Yeah.
I think that's the most accurate.
Yeah.
Fighter and Barbarian, the most human classes.
But again, Barbarian has things that not get confusing, but Fighter is very, I'm going to say cardboard copy, like cutout, like cookie cutter, which is a really bad description, because when you get to the subclasses, you get some really fun subclasses. You really do. So we're not dissing Fighter in any way, but like Barbarian, straight off, you get some features that I think you still need to understand exactly how it works. Like, what does rage really give you?
That's that's then resistance to bludgeoning and piercing and It lasts 1 minute, but you're doing 1 minute for 6 seconds per thing, or 10 rounds of that individual person,
and how many times you can use that.
And what the hell is exhaustion? That's just more things to keep track of. Fighter, there's less to keep track of, but you can still do a lot of damage.
I would say the only thing with a fighter is you probably want to have an idea of the type of fighter you want to be from the get-go, because as you start to build it and then start to choose your subclasses, if you have an idea, and we'll talk about the strength and dex sides of that, but like if you have an idea, even backstory-wise, when you get to those places to make those decisions, you're going to know what you want a bit more just from reading a description of that subclass. And then not be doing massive amounts of homework trying to read every single individual subclass, what each one can do. You go, that sounds like my character, we'll start to read on that, and then if there's something you don't like, you might go, that does fit, but not as much of that, but we'll read it. But
then again, if you have a really nice DM and you choose, because we're going to discuss a level 1, you pick your fighting style, and that is a big defining moment at level 1. But if you don't like it and you have a nice DM, you can say, can I just respec to do this because I'm not enjoying the archery side, I want to get into the battle more.
Well, I think if we look at a summary first before we do like quick build.
Guys, there's something on our table.
This is an ad read.
Over the festive period in 2023, we had the pleasure to showcase some of the fantastic products that came from BINDWOOD Gaming, and today we have that pleasure again. Recently, Danielle sent us a mystery box for working in collaboration with BINDWOOD Gaming over the festive period. And in that box was a beautiful, adorable scrunchie that we could only assume was for Hattie, because me and Em haven't had long hair in 10 years. It is durable, it is soft, and quite frankly, it is a hella cute. I actually bought my own dice tray from BINDWOOD Gaming back in January. When I was putting the advert together for our Christmas special, Danielle mentioned that she wanted to get in some vegan faux leather, so her products are even more eco-friendly. Well, this dice tray is made of vegan faux leather. And honestly, if you were to put them side to side, you can't tell the difference just looking at them. Danielle has partnered with a small business to bring chocolate to BINDWOOD Gaming because Danielle plans to get some BINDWOOD Gaming gift boxes for you to purchase for a friend, or let's be honest, for yourself, so you too can experience just the menagerie of fantastic products that they have to offer. You can find these beautiful products at www.bindwoodgaming.com, and be sure to check out their socials at BINDWOOD Gaming on Instagram and Facebook, and then at BWood Gaming on TikTok. Thank you to Danielle and to BINDWOOD Gaming for supporting the podcast. Now back to the episode.
Fighters are damage dealers.
Oh yeah.
They're not like the tank of the group. That's always a paladin and barbarian in my mind, and for very different reasons. One is heavy duty, needs barely any armor.
Yep.
Has features to keep on pushing. The other has heavy armor,
A shield. Yeah,
and can keep going because of spells. But fighters are great because they can just keep chipping away at health points.
it's somewhere between a barbarian and a monk.
Yes, totally understand that. Especially because you only get the D10 hit point barrier instead of like the D12 like a barbarian does. But then it's the same level as a paladin. They are designed, as I said, to keep chipping away at your enemy. But some of the subclasses allow them to have defensive or like a tactical feel that allows them to almost control or at least like use situations to their advantage. So I wouldn't say they have enough to fill the defensive or like controller role.
No.
However, like secondary versions of them, I would say yes. Like if you have a magic user in your party who has leaned into this controller side where they manipulate the battlefield and whatnot with charms and ground effects and whatnot.
If they can funnel them towards this damage dealer.
Well, not even that, but like that's a great way to do it. But also if they're doing like they're staying at the back, controlling as they go, and then you've got a fighter who can manipulate a situation when it happens close to them because of some of the features they get, especially when you pick a certain fighting style, like with the shield and whatnot. You are having an extra layer of control. So those two together work wonderful. But if you're just a fighter on your own and you don't have a magic user that way, it's not handy because it still helps, but you're not going to fill the controller role. So I would always go that they are a damage dealer.
Primarily.
But pretty versatile with what they can do.
So versatile. So when so I wrote the notes for this one. It's been a hectic week and literally my shift was pushed back like 2 hours yesterday. So it's like notes. And I went, oh, you didn't mention anything about race. I was like, God, just give it a quick think. And I thought about it. And you can make so many races a fighter.
Yeah.
Because let's say, again, we'll touch on this later, but level when you pick your fighting style, that requires either strength or con or dex or intelligence, depending on later down the line if you want to do Eldritch Knight stuff. There are so many ways you can build it.
Yeah.
So I said, from the PHB, maybe if you want pure strength, a Goliath. If you want a little bit, and the bolster of the con and everything. If you want to like build your own, choose your own points, Genasi, doesn't that have the option to go 1-1-1 or 2-1, build your own?
Genasi
use that.
Genasi, all of the Genasis get a +2 on con, which is never a bad thing. Never a bad thing because your con is your health. And then depending on the element of Genasi, you get a +1 in either dex, strength, intelligence, or wisdom. So if you are going for a fighter, if you're going for a strength-based fighter, Earth Genasi for the +1 in strength.
Yep.
For a dex-based fighter, you take the air. If you intelligence and wisdom, which ones do you think they are? Fire or water?
I mean, your notes are right there. I'm trying not to look. Fire would be. I'm trying to give Avatar Airbender. I think the water is the intelligence.
So fire is intelligence, water is wisdom, which I also kind of get because I look at water and naturally go druid style. I don't know where wisdom fits as well into a fighter, apart from like boosting your perception, so your
more alert
survival skills.
To
say to like keep you alert. So actually, I take back what I just said. We just found where it lies. But intelligence works, especially if you want to take that arcane knight, Eldritch Knight subclass.
But then straying a little bit further from the PHB, if your DM allows, I said if you want to make a more dexterous fighter, how about you choose a tabaxi? Because then you get bonuses to dex, so you can use finesse weapons. And I just put in my Puss in Boots character.
Love it. Absolutely love it. If that is your thought behind the character, I'm here for it. Like, it's a lot of fun. But we are pushing on to races. We've not really broken down the build. So let's do that. So if you are going to build a fighter, the PHB will recommend that you put your highest skill in strength. And then is the second one con?
The second is either con or intelligence, but this is going back to what we just said. There are so many ways you can build a fighter. You don't have to stick to what the PHB says.
No, exactly. Like, we talk through what the PHB offers as a guide, and then we also offer you some
alternatives.
Like with the Genasi are not in the PHB whatsoever. But you find them online, you find them in the other...
Like D&D Beyond Basics?
Yeah, Mordekainen's Multiverse of Monsters, all that.
So that's 3 times as fast.
Yeah. Yeah. So rule number 1 of any class build, any character build, to be honest, nothing is a no.
Yeah.
Some things might not make logical sense. Like if Tyler came at me with a grung barbarian...
You're a grung barbarian. What's a grung?
Grung is like a miniature frog. You know, like poison dart frogs?
Yes.
That's what they're based off of.
Hilarious.
So he is this tiny little frog person, and depending on, like a Dragonborn, the colour of your frog, depends on what toxin or poison seeps from your skin. So he had one, I think it was green. So if he touched people, it would confuse them.
Oh, sick.
Obviously, there's like a saving throw in there.
Yes.
But he literally walked under tables, dragging his great axe behind him and just touching the heels of anyone going. And they would be confused. They would start fighting each other. Great.
But as a fighter...
As a barbarian.
No, what?
He was a barbarian. It was so fun.
How many of these things?
I love Zark. Zark needs to come back. Yeah, no idea is too dumb. If you have a viewpoint and a way to work it, go for it. Just because the race doesn't give you racial bonuses in strength or con or even dex, because you can be a dexterous fighter instead, doesn't mean you can't use it. My Air Genasi Paladin Sorcerer is a +2 in con and a +1 in dex. My Paladin is not dexterous. I've gone for the strength.
Don't assume dex with Paladin.
You can be a Dexadin, as what they call them. But it's like how you do a fighter. You change the fighting styles to be more dexterous. So you're sacrificing the heavier weapons for like the smaller weapons to have that. Great. I've got that option if it ever comes up, so I'm not completely useless if somehow I've had my weapon stripped and the only thing I can find is a short sword. Yeah. I at least have some weight behind it.
That's good, yeah. Because in every campaign, there's going to be at one moment and you're kidnapped and you've lost your weapons. Improvise, go.
Yeah, exactly. And then having the con is never a bad thing. A Paladin, and because he's a multi-class with Sorcerer, if I decide to take an extra level in Sorcerer, I'm still getting a bit of extra juice when it's a D6 for a Sorcerer. But they rely on charisma and strength typically for a Paladin, because your magic is charisma. So I've had decent rolls, got what I wanted, and then just boosted. That's how you can play it. You never have to just go, oh, it doesn't work for what a fighter is. If you have decent rolls, or you do it on point buy or the standard array system, if you are smart and go, well, I can put that there so it's still a bit even, go for it. Like,
not wearing my glasses, everything is blurring into one.
So we're talking strength and constitution. Yes. However, we've mentioned that you could pick dex. Now, the reason for this is when you pick your fighting styles, you can pick
archery, dual weapon fighting, defensive. Yeah. It's
great weapon fighting. So if you wanted to go strength, great weapon fighting is a great one. And so is dueling, because you're either putting a bonus into your damage rolls or have the option to convert a 1 or a 2 on your damage die and re-roll it to get a better one. But if you want to be more dexterous, obviously there's archery. So then you get a +2 on your long bows and short bows. So if you're going to be that fighter who can do damage from far before running in, great. And then you can use your short swords to stabby stab. But nothing stops you still from using bigger weapons. It's just your attack modifier is going to come from your dex.
Yours are hit and everything.
So a short sword is a D6 plus your modifier. So you're going to get the best juice out of that instead of a D8 plus your strength modifier that might not have the same amount of love to it. And that's basically all you have to consider is how you want to design your fighter. And then what that also affects is your skills in your list. Strength typically only really comes up with athletics.
Yeah, that's the only one.
Which is handy for like, can you open that door? Can you, you know,
can you kick down the door? Can you chase down the bad guy? Can you?
Yeah,
Yep.
but Dex has a lot more in terms of skills because you've got
Acrobatics,
acrobatics,
stealth.
survival, sleight of hand. All them are you being a bit dexterous.
Yeah.
So though you might not have as much weapon stuff to play with as strength-based, you've got more skills to play with. So it really depends on how you just want to play your fighter.
There is no wrong way to build
No,
a fighter.
there never really is. On
That
any
fighter
class.
can benefit from pretty much anything.
Yeah.
I enjoyed the little description of just creating a fighter in the PHP.
Yeah.
Because when I read through this, I said it's not like a ranger where the ranger description is, and then a dragon killed your entire village, so you should
It
hunt
almost
down
gives you a
dragons, and
backstory
this is your
ready,
backstory.
yeah.
I'd be angry. Fighter is like, why are you a fighter? Is it because you're part of the army? Is this as a necessity to survive? How did you get your weapons and stuff? Are they like army grade weapons, or is this stuff you found on the street, or is it a family heirloom? It's
Yeah.
like, it offers you suggestions more than anything.
Yeah.
when it
Which
comes
I
to it.
enjoy.
But it does say choose the soldier background.
Yes, which I totally get because you get a boost in athletics and in intimidation.
Which, so if someone's going to square up for a fight,
Yeah.
but he's going to be a fighter.
If you want to look at some other backgrounds, these are, I think, 3 suitable backgrounds for a fighter that just have a different edge to each way you do it. So gladiators, which works for barbarians as well. Gladiators basically became the damage dealers background version of a the performer background.
Okay.
Because you get proficiency bonuses in acrobatics and performance.
Interesting.
Yeah. So the whole point was they found the melee way of giving the bards like performance background.
Yeah.
That can still work for the melee users, because acrobatics, you are now more nimble on your feet if a situation happens. If you end up falling off a bridge or a bridge collapses underneath your feet and you need to try and land, acrobatics is probably what you're going to use to see if you can land decently.
Yeah.
And then performance, I just think it allows the fighter, especially because some people probably look at a fighter, and when you pick a certain background as a subclass as well, as like a leader role. So if you can walk into the village and be like, people, gather round. Hear what I say. There is a dragon on your doorstep, and if you do not raise your pitchforks, you're all going to die. Performance, because you're trying to inspire people. You're trying to, however it works. So role-play wise, I think it's great.
And I appreciate that as well, because there are so many podcasts or situations where the DM will say, oh, can you make a persuasion roll? And I always want to go, no, that's a performance roll, because they're not trying to persuade. They're trying to, it's be performance or deception.
Yeah.
It's a lie. They're trying to put on a show. So I think that would be brilliant, just to try and goad people into either helping you fight or, as a gladiator, winding them up and putting on a show.
Honestly, at that point, it really comes down to the words that are being used.
Yeah.
If you're standing on a platform and trying to inspire, to me, that's performance.
Yes.
If you are kind of negotiating with someone who's like, I really don't want to do this, and like, no, come on, like, you'll be fine. You'll have a sword with
Persuasion.
you. That's persuasion.
If it's deception, it's I have got 50,000 men out there waiting to take this town down. So you either drop your weapons or we're going to crush you.
So we're lying to the village that we have 50,000 people who could take down the dragon, but we're telling them, you need to do this because there's only 20 of you.
Roll with disadvantage. I didn't think this through.
But yeah, so that's the gladiators one. Then you've also got a knight background, which makes total sense for a fighter.
There we go.
And in that you get a history proficiency and a persuasion.
Lovely. There we go. There's the second string.
History makes sense for a knight because you can, if you've trained in the army or your kingdom's army, you probably will recall
knowledge
of and how things would work. Usually things like that also come with a feature saying that if you go to another city or whatnot, if you recognize these symbols of like guilds and whatnot, like
they'll offer you safe haven.
Like a hero's hall,
something like that.
Yeah, like a hero's hall sort of situation for knights. You'll unless it's an enemy city, they might not. But typically, and then you also have sailor. Now I like this one because
notice my face.
Right, you hear sailor. What do you go to?
I go to Popeye.
Okay. I think a lot of people go to like pirate.
Oh, that'll make
even
more
though
sense.
there is now a pirate background, but sailor. If we think of modern day, the Marines, the Navy,
that
they are the modern day fighter.
Yeah.
obviously
That
not.
makes more sense in my head.
A sailor gives you athletics, which is great,
Always good. Yep.
and perception.
Oh, fantastic. Okay.
And I just think, well, let's look at Pirates of the Caribbean as a film, and they had their Commodore take his men on the boat. They still had to fight with swords and blunderbusses. So look at that for a reference. But
But
to
I
me,
think
that could still be a fighter.
Oh yeah, you don't. Just the term sailor doesn't have to mean naval officer. But if you're
Yeah.
going to be using like bonus to perception, like you say, you can have a fighter. If you don't have a rogue to scout or a ranged to scout, you can have your fighter go in, play the big in, scout the area, in, out, relying on their stature and their. Go a different way to scout out the environment.
Yeah,
that would be very cool, actually.
So I think, as you said, you had already said soldier.
Yep.
Then you've got sailor, knight, and gladiator. 3 extra fun ones just to consider for something that gives a bit more maybe flair and not as traditional as what you would just get. Because soldier gives you athletics and intimidation.
Yes.
Again, makes sense. You're getting a variety of all these things in different ways.
And again, it's just a different way to play a fighter. I'm not, like I said, I played a fighter as an NPC for a couple of sessions in the campaign I'm running, but I think I'd really enjoy a fighter just because even this little discussion now, I'm like, there's so many ways you can go with this.
There really is.
Yeah. So let's look at what happens on the basic fighter. What do you get just via level up before diving into subclasses and seeing what the crack is?
Yes, definitely. So let's hit up those features. Features is what you get no matter what subclass you pick. So from level, it will take you from level 1 to 20, and there will be a few missing levels because they'll be what you get for your subclass. But features on every class is a standard across the board. If you had more than one fighter in your team, you're both going to have these features.
No matter
It is
what.
just subclasses that make you different.
Yeah. Which is good because when writing the notes, I went and level 9 and went, there's nothing after level 9 because then it does rely on your subclass and you get additional additions to the features you have already.
We'll explain as we go through.
Better than that.
Yeah. Do you want to kick us off?
Yeah, go for it. I mean, we have flogged this already, but you pick your fighting style, either archery, defense, dueling, great weapon, protection, or 2-weapon fighting. So this is very much how you want to play your fighter. You pick from the off.
Yeah.
And this is why we're saying it's important where you put your stats.
Yeah.
When you begin.
So to like take you through them very quickly, because I know we referenced them. Archery, you get a +2 to your
ranged weapons.
Yep. Defense
+1 to AC.
There you go. On top of your armor. So if you're already wearing armor, you get an extra.
Which you have proficiency in all armor.
Yeah.
So even if you somehow manage to pick up some heavy ass armor right from the off, +1 to your AC, get in the fight.
So you can have 16 and then +1, 17. You're becoming harder to hit, which is always a great thing. Dueling.
When you're wielding a melee weapon in one hand and no other weapons, you gain a +2 bonus to damage rolls with that weapon. So as long as you're not doing like a great axe two-handed sword, which is if you're building a dex build with a rapier or a short sword, there you go.
Yeah, or even if you are still going down the strength route and you have a long sword, because you can. They've got the versatility.
They've got 2 numbers. That's right.
Yeah,
Hattie kept referencing she's playing a barbarian in my campaign. Right, I'm gonna go for 2 to that. I was like, I forgot about that.
Yes. Whereas the only thing that would not work for is if you've decided to go with greater weapons, like a great sword or a great axe.
Yeah.
However, there is one for that, which is the great weapons, where, as we said, if you roll damage die and it lands on a 1 or a 2, you can re-roll it. To see
if it's a 1 or 2 again, you have to take it.
Yeah,
but it's just that extra
the chance just to. And I was saying, a great axe is a 1d12 and a great sword is 2d6. So both have the same output, just done in different ways.
Ooh, so with 2d6, if one of them was a 1 or a 2, could you re-roll that one, or do you have to either get? You can get 1 normally. So if one of the dice is a 1, you can re-roll it.
Yeah,
sick.
Now, what I'm not sure of, if both of them are a 1 or a 2, if you can re-roll both, or you can just re-roll 1. Because still 1 to potentially get a 6.
Oh, yeah. And then a 2, that's still 8 damage if you only roll 1.
Yeah.
But that would be hilarious if you choose great axe or great sword. Because 2 damage.
Yeah, exactly. And then the last two you've got
Protection. When a creature that you see attacks a target other than you that's within 5 feet of you, you can use your reaction to impose disadvantage on the attack roll. You must be wielding a shield.
Basically, this is where I'm on about being a bit of the tactical controller side of you can manipulate a moment in that situation to see if it benefits you and an ally, because you're not just looking out for yourself there, you're looking out for your team.
Yeah.
So if you're close pack, great. But disadvantage doesn't mean it's going to be successful, but any chance.
Just to delay it.
Yeah.
But could you... This is coming from a never had to build a fighter before. You can't do a great weapon and a shield, can you?
No.
It has to be one of the
Because great weapon is 2 hands at all times.
Okay.
Doesn't mean you can't have a shield in your pack, and then when you're ready to swap your great weapon out for a long sword and have sword and shield, you can do that.
Okay. That'll be something to keep track of.
Yeah.
My brain.
Yeah.
But
and then the last one is 2-weapon fighting. It kind of says it in the tin of what it does, but it's all to do with smaller weapons. So your simple or
your lighter finesse. Yeah.
Allows you to hold 2 at a time and attack, because everyone can attack with 2 hands.
Yeah.
But the difference is, because we had this in one of the one shots, wouldn't it? You attack your first attack, which is your sword stat, 1d6 plus your modifier. The second attack will not include the modifier unless you pick the 2-weapon fighting.
Yeah, because I remember I was getting my brain couldn't wrap around it, and I was getting snappy, and it was bad player moment. I was like, but I don't understand, Em. Why can't I do this?
Because I said so.
And the man who's been playing for 4 years was like, well, no.
It's just this. And he's like, I still don't get it. It is just this. I don't get it. Moving on. But it's just that you just get to add that, which again is, if you're going for the dexterous side, probably the one I would choose, or archery, just because it allows you to keep chipping.
Yeah. In, out.
Yeah.
2 weapons. Yeah.
So also at level 1, you get a thing called Second Wind, which as a bonus action, you get to recover 1d10 plus your fighter level of HP every short rest.
Which is wild. Because so even in level 1, you're probably going to have like 14 HP.
Yeah.
Cool that. So if you end the fight with 2 HP and you roll max, you're almost back up to full HP.
Yeah.
You're getting 11 back, 13 out of 14. Lovely if you roll max. But
exactly.
It is so good that it's a bonus action.
And once per short rest. So obviously you get a short rest equivalent of dice to your level.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you can only do it once at level 1. But when you are going higher levels and you can keep doing this and you get it back every time, it's really nothing to like dismiss.
Oh no. So if you already hit dice on a short rest and go, I could really use some more.
Yeah.
Do that, thanks. I could just short rested. I can use it again.
Exactly.
There was once so level 3, you get action, level 2 even, you get action surge, which means you get to use another action. Yeah. You can attack again, you can assist an ally, you can make a skill check to try and do something. Mm-hmm. There was once in this NPC that I was playing, the battle had gone long enough.
Yeah.
But there was something, it was selfish DMing of me. There was a moment I wanted to trigger, like out in the courtyard, so I had to escape the building to get to the courtyard to trigger this thing. And I was like, I could either action surge and dash, or I could be an arsehole and use a second wind. So I was like, the battle's gone on long enough. I don't want to give myself any more HP. I just want to get out there. Yeah. So I dashed, took an opportunity attack, got to the courtyard, triggered the thing, literally knocked out the next session. But action surge allowed me to go, and now there's this interesting point. You're welcome, players. The battle's over. Oh, sick.
Yeah, there you go.
But the fun thing is, and we'll get onto it at level 5, when you extra attack, and you get more as you go on. If you action surge, you can take multiple attacks again.
Yeah.
I did read up on this bit, and
action surge, like you said, is to use another action, and again, you get it once per short rest. So just to get a bonus extra free hit.
Oh yeah, player agency straight up.
And when you can stack it on top of features that come in later down the line that grant you more opportunities to attack, people are going to hate you. You are going to be stood there and be like, we've got 10 minutes left of this fight. Okay, I'm just going to take them all down. Your enemies are going to be in fear. Your DM is going to hate you for ruining his battle. And your players are going to be jealous that they got to do absolutely nothing.
The person at the end of the initiative is like, well, there's nothing for me to do. Okay.
He's like, just kicks the corpse. I did something.
Yeah, I'm helping.
So then at level 3...
That's something I would do, though.
Something you would do. At level 3, this is where you get to choose your subclasses, or what they are called in
your martial archetypes for fighters.
Now, later on, after we talk through the features, we'll summarize each subclass to give you a bit of a feel and just share a little bit about each one, what they can do. But yeah, so this is where you just pick the style,
the flavor,
the path your fighter is going down, and then later on at different levels you'll gain some extra features from that.
Yeah, there's one I really like, and I think it is Eldritch Knight. Eldritch Knight is the one I really enjoy, and we'll get onto that later.
So level 4, as usual, it's your ability improvement score, or you pick a feat if that is your thing.
As with every character.
Yes. Yeah. So remember, you can either improve one score by 2 points, 2 scores by 1 point, or you pick a feat that allows an extra feature onto your character, and some of these also do come with one ability improvement score anyway. So read through, make the best decision for your character. But then we move to level 5. Extra attack.
And this is where the damage dealing comes in. Extra attack you get at level 5, but then you also get another one at level 11 and level 20.
Yes. So at the end of that is 4 extra attacks that you can do
in one move.
Yeah. So extra attack does not go against anything. Action. It is, you can attack twice in your turn, or 3 times when you're at level 11, and 4 times. Now, add action surge onto this, where you get to use another action. Now, that is handy for multiple reasons. To use another action doesn't mean you have to just attack, but it just means that you can, if that's what you want to do. You could say, I'm going to attack, I'm going to go in, and then try and push myself as far away as possible, or use the disengage action, which would be quite handy to play it smart-wise.
Yeah.
Because then you've taken 2 stabs.
Get your 2 hits in.
And then you're going, I'm going to use action surge to use a disengage action to get me out of that. And hopefully that should not. Always depends on the situation. But hopefully it shouldn't provoke opportunity attack.
Yes. But I also like the fact that this then, like we said earlier, that offers the fighter, even if you're not dexterous and weaving around everyone, you attack twice, you action surge, disengage, get out of there, and then hopefully the NPCs, the enemies, will follow you.
Yeah.
And then it's like, hello, and this is the rest of the party. Shall we?
Yes.
I think it's very fun. But then we come to, I'm not going to say the last feature of a fighter, because like we say, you get additional features that link up, like extra attack, and then you get subclasses features. But the main features for a fighter stop at level 9.
Yeah.
Then it's repeated or subclass. So you get, and I can never say this, indomitable. I have to really have, like, really get to say indomitable. Indomitable. You can re-roll your saving throws once per long rest, but you do have to take the second throw.
Yeah.
It's a chance. It's a chance.
But hey, no, it is a chance, but it's a good chance, because sometimes you get advantage on things. You already know by looking at it. Usually these things, the DM has not told you if it's a fail or a save yet. However, if you are looking at a dice that has anything less than 5, probably even less than 10, you can probably assume it is not going to pass. Yep. So that's when you go, okay.
I'm going to read all that things. But it's like, if you're just getting a 5, you're probably not going to have the mods,
no,
then the saving throw mods to get past 10, you're taking a risk.
Yeah.
But this is just, it's free advantage.
Yeah.
Free advantage.
100%.
But again, this one, unlike the other features, like I said, it's a long rest. So you have to time this one well.
Yeah. But again, once you've used it, it's helped you in that situation. And if it's helped you, it has helped you and did a wonderful job.
And then you get this one, you get more rerolls at 13 and 17.
Yeah.
At level 13 and 17. So you get 3 attempts at level 17 to reroll.
I don't think that's bad, actually.
No, not at all.
No.
How would you rule it? Would you say you have to announce your rerolling before the result is spoken?
No, the result is on. You roll and then you see the dice. That's fine. Just the DM won't tell you if it's passed or
Yes, that's
failed.
before the DM narrates what happens.
Yeah,
You have to get it in before then.
Yeah.
Otherwise, and then you fall off the cliff.
Yeah.
I want to reroll. No,
Yeah.
nope. Already spoke into existence.
Well, you just go, it's like, would you, especially if you have the feature, it's just a case of, are you happy with this? Do you want to reroll?
Do you want to reroll?
Do you, especially when you know it's on the lower side, I think a DM would probably read it and go, it's your choice. Like, especially when it's on the cusp of 10, going, has your modifier done the job? It's like, it's totally your call. I'm not going to tell you yes.
But I will sit here for 2 seconds looking at you. We're going.
But that doesn't mean just because they look at you and give you the option that they're helping you out. They go, are you sure? And that could be them in hopes to say that you will reroll, because though you didn't need it, you've just wasted it anyway.
Yeah.
That would be something I would do.
That is.
Let's move on to the subclasses. As we said, these are your martial archetypes.
So the first one that the PHB suggests is champion. And my summary for this one was harder, better, faster, stronger. Harder, better, because that also does. Like with when you choose a rogue and you go thief, that's a roguier rogue. The champion is a fightier fighter. It does more damage, more opportunities to crit. Let's break it down.
Yeah, you get an improved crit, which means you can turn a 19 on a dice roll as a critical as well, not just a 20. That's super cool. You know, the stuff like Remarkable Athlete, where you get to half your proficiency and add it to any strength, dex, or con check.
So if you don't have proficiency in stealth, you can now add half your proficiency just because you've chosen this.
Yeah.
So that's a level 7
bonus.
Yeah.
So if your proficiency bonus is, let's just say a 4, to have a +2 on something that you're not proficient in is better than nothing.
Yeah, better slap in the face.
And and if it gives you that better chance, especially when you look at the skills that aren't your character's best skills, so those abilities that translate to the skills aren't going to be as nice and shiny. So to have this ability to just try and even it out a bit and give you the best foot forward in the game.
Although I did enjoy that to any strength, dex or con. Strength is only athletics. So if you don't have proficiency in athletics, have half. You're welcome. That should just be athletics, dex or con.
Yeah.
We are then going to level 10, where you pick an additional fighting style. So this is your opportunity to say, if you took archery as your first fighting style, but you want to get into the fight, this is your opportunity to go, now I can do both.
Yeah. Or if you took one that was up close and now you want to do it the other way and be like, I want to even.
Yeah.
Why not?
One of those where it really allows you to, well, from a I'm thinking from a roleplay perspective, if you are a level 1 adventurer, nothing's really gone on to make you the fighter of the King's Guard. I was right hand to the king. This is now like you're level 10 now. You've probably picked up another skill somewhere. You've learned from your party about archery. Yeah. You've learned from the paladin about protecting others. This is where you can go from a roleplay perspective. Yeah. This is what I learned through my adventure.
Yeah. But also even just like in terms of the fighting styles, if you pick the great weapon fighting, which is already to do with two-handed weapons, you might want to pick one that boosts the other melee side of you, just so if you've picked up more weapons, if you're in a situation where you don't have your great weapons and you've got to use what's around you, use it to your advantage, and like it just gives you more scope to play with. Do you then start fighting in a different style, and then you only pull out the great weapons when you really need it? Yeah. and then beforehand you're doing all the other stuff to age hip but keep yourself slightly protected, or hope to get better damage.
Yeah, I think that'd be quite cool. I'm thinking, I'm in my head, sorry, I'm building a character in my head. If you pick a fighter that's all brute and no brains, at level 10, when you go, actually, defense is also, like in football, you know, offense is the best defense. But no, sometimes defense is the best thing in defense. And he's learned that not everything has to be solved with fighting. Sometimes protection and holding back is the best one. I think that by level 10, you've learned that mentality.
So champion is pretty cool.
Champion is cool.
If we look at Battle Master.
Oh, there's just 2 more. Level 15, superior critical. Now 18, 19, 20 is crit. Nice and simple. But then there's Survivor. If you have less than your HP, you regain 5 plus your con mod at the start of each one of your turns. That, if you have invested in con and you got like a +4, that's 9 HP back at the start of your turn.
Yeah, that's really not bad.
That's another hit.
Yeah.
And if you're a fighter and you're in the battle, you could be taking a few of those.
Yeah. It's considering that's if you have less than half HP. At level 18, well, let's just do the D10s. Let's not even worry about the con mod on top. 180. If you were to get it, if you were to get
max HP,
if you were to get 10s every time.
Yeah.
So halfway could be anywhere between 70 and 19, depending on what you've rolled all together. And then you're allowed to keep your health ticking away. And if you think about it, if you start to have that and then people are like, oh, he's regaining health, we're going to keep attacking him. Or you are in a situation where you're going to get attacked anyway, to keep getting this back and just making it harder for them to take you down. So delicious.
Yeah, but then that's also, if your DM's focusing in on you, you are now a distraction. Everyone else can pile on, give you buffs, make you last longer because you're getting that HP back.
Yep.
Love that.
Very much that.
Jump over to Battle Master.
Right, so Battle Master. It's a more interesting fighter. If you look at it, it does give you more diversity. You're able to assist your party or give disadvantages to your enemies instead of focusing on yourself. So at level 3, you get something called Combat Superiority, where you gain maneuvers to use in combat that are based around either disadvantaging your opponent or inspiring and assisting the party.
So these are things like you can disarm your opponent if you would like to do that. You can, I don't know if it's feinting or distracting, but if you expend your bonus action, you can have advantage on hitting your opponent. So you either boost yourself. Yeah. But then if you are not wearing my bloody glasses and the sun's now come out, so it's just glare on this book. Goading, when you hit a creature with a weapon attack, you're going to spend 1 superiority die in an attempt to goad the target into attacking you. Therefore, you can help your partner just go, I'm going to take the hit here. Stop him.
Exactly. The superiority dice work as a D8. So you'll get X many to do with your levels at that time. It will explain how many in the book or online if that's how you decide to do it, but it's equivalent to a D8 dice.
But it does scale. I think it goes up to a D10 and a D12. That's nice. It does go up with the level.
Very nice. After that, you have Student of War, where you gain proficiency with an artisan tool of your choice.
Which I read and was like, okay, it's an option. What would you do with this? Smith's tools would be probably the more roleplay one.
Yeah,
so you can fix your weapons and.
I'd say I'm never against taking the thieves sort of artisan tool kit just because of pick a lock in any sort of situation.
Don't have to rely on someone else to do that.
Yeah, but I would say read through them and really figure out what is the best decision for your fighter, because nothing is a bad choice. It's about how you use it. So if you look at something and go, I don't feel like I'd use it, then don't pick it because you're probably not going to. But if you see something and go, I will get a lot of fun out of that, not only for me, but in gameplay and character-wise.
So Hattie is currently playing a barbarian in the campaign I'm running, and she has proficiency in masonry tools because of her background.
Yeah.
She managed to get use out of them in the last session.
There you go.
She was like, so one of our friends used meld with stone to get into a wall and through the other side through the secret wall. Hatch just went, I want to use my masonry tools and chip away. It's like, cool, it's going to be quite noisy. Can you just roll me sleight of hand to see how it's like 19? I was like, no one can hear a thing. your background, you just chip away at this wall brick by brick, and no one is any the wiser. So you can have some fun with tools.
You also get things like Know Your Enemy, where you can spend a minute out of combat studying someone to learn 2 details about them. And this goes to strength, con, or a dex score, AC, HP, class levels, or fighter levels.
Which, thinking back to the sailor class, you get that perception. If you are to walk into a town and scout it out,
yeah,
you just walk in, perceive what you can perceive for a minute, get out of there.
Yeah.
That would be a lovely little thing.
Mm-hmm. And then you also have improved combat superiority. Oh, this is what you're on about. So
it goes up
at
to
level
D10.
10, it becomes a D10 on your combat superiority. And then at 18th level, it becomes a D12. And then the last thing you get at level 15 is Relentless. When you roll initiative, if you have no superiority dice, then you regain 1.
But it's like Monk. You're walking into battle, you get 4 Monk points out of your 20 that you'd have. You
Yeah.
get 1 superiority dice, like you can do 1 maneuver.
Yeah.
It's better than none.
It's not useless, but again, it's have I used enough to gain this anyway? But
Yes. Have I wasted? Have
Yeah.
I used them all up? If not, whatever. But 1 is better than none.
Mhm.
You just have to use it well.
Yeah. Now, the next one coming up is the one that you said you were excited by.
Eldritch Knight. The so this I looked at Wikidot. I was like, what is an
Mhm.
Eldritch Knight? The Eldritch Knight combines the martial mastery common to all fighters with the careful study of magic. Eldritch Knight used the magical techniques similar to those practiced by wizards. And it was like absolute chalk and cheese of classes. The squishiest one teaching the fightery one.
Yeah. This to me is like The Witcher.
Oh, good.
Like if you want to build that Geralt type character.
Yes.
And you pick a fighter and then you have boost of magic, because a Witcher isn't just like all magic, it's swords and whatnot.
That is so good. That's a great pull. Wow.
That's how I would look at it.
Yeah.
But also in reverse, there is a class from a wizard point of view that basically does this in reverse. So a blade singer is a wizard who has
That's what it is,
skills in
yes.
swordsmanship.
You're right.
'Cause I
Can't
have
wait to
been
jump
one.
into Wizard and hear about more about that.
Yeah.
So like I say, I've never played a spellcaster, so I'll be interested to see how
Mhm.
that plays out.
So yeah, I think like if you have an idea of a character and that's what you're trying to replicate, like that sort of thing, or Kingdom Hearts, Sora, the Keyblade user,
Keyblade,
and
yep.
then you get some magic to back him up. You could be Sora with this.
Yeah, hell, even just Fable.
Yeah.
Any of the Fable games.
Exactly. So in this, you get your spell casting at level 3, which you can only take them from the wizard spells list. And to start, you have to learn 2 spells from either the School of Abjuration or Evocation.
So you don't get like full reign right
No.
now. You're a fighter, not a spellcaster. You're a half spellcaster.
Yeah.
So it kind of limits you to start off with, but
But Evocation is great because Evocation is damage. So that's spells like Burning Hands.
oh, that'd be so.
Again, I go to Geralt because he has a fire. He's got the Igni sign and it's like, die, bitch. Then you've got things like weapon bonding. So you can create a bond with a weapon of your choice that's within your reach. This weapon cannot be disarmed from you unless you are incapacitated. You can use a bonus action to summon this weapon in battle, causing it to teleport to you.
I just put, it's like Thor.
Yeah. You have made your Thor's hammer. Again, go into the kidnap hostage situation.
As
and
we
you
always
are
do.
Stripped of your weaponry, but you've already bonded with a weapon.
Shing!
Even if it gets hit by the grate and you just pull it through, then
Yeah.
you are still then able to summon a weapon to your side, or you do it like you break free first, make
Yeah.
yourself look disarmed and that they could take you, and then whoosh,
Thing. The way it reads, I'm really sorry.
it says teleport.
Teleports.
So
Does it just appear, or would it, like Mjolnir, come to you?
fly. I guess that's maybe something you could discuss with your DM.
Yeah.
Like, this is how it would work, or this is how I want it to work.
Because
If that was to read teleport, I'd say it's appearing in your hand,
yeah,
not flying.
because we'll get onto it. There's Psy Warrior that has something similar to this, where you can kind of cast out, and that
Yes.
is a lot like Thor. So maybe you are right when it's just it appears in your hand.
Yeah.
Maybe that's right.
But you can bond with 2 weapons. You can only summon 1 at a time, but you
Yeah.
can have 2 options. So if you are locked up and go, I've got access to 2, and you're looking at your party. I'll summon one now because it's a
Someone
bonus
take that.
action, and then in the next moment, I'll summon the other one, and at least 2 of us have a weapon to use.
Yeah. And then the bard persuades the guard just to come in closer. Done.
Yeah.
That was dark.
You get war magic at level 7, which is basically you use a cantrip as an action. You can make it a weapon attack afterwards.
This is why I liked Eldritch Knight, because it doesn't say you are now just a spellcaster. No, you get to use the weapons that you chose, that you melded your character around as well. So if you cast Firebolt, does that come under?
Yeah.
Firebolt comes under this.
Cantrip.
Firebolt, and then you, for a range, then you can run in and make one weapon attack as well, and then you're in the battle. So this is also an answer to not choosing archery as a, so it gives you a little bit. You can do something like that.
Yeah. I also think Ray of Frost works really well in this situation. It doesn't have the same range as Firebolt or the same damage capacity, but you hit someone with it. It also slows their walking speed by 10 feet.
Oh, sick. That, and then get a little bit of field control as well.
Yeah.
That's very good.
Yeah. So in that moment, it just, until the next turn, until they hit again. So you could just keep hitting them with it. If it's someone from a distance, and I think Ray of Frost is 100 feet, and then you've got an archer or another spellcaster in your team, cool, you could do that. And then you could throw a melee weapon, or if you have a longbow, keep going in at that.
So you
are slowing them down long enough for the rest of your party to take whatever range stabs they can until they're in your presence, and then you go, okay. Then to round it off, you get Eldritch Strike, which when you hit an enemy with a weapon, the creature has disadvantage on saving throws against any spell you cast on it. So that's a bonus for your spell magic. And then Arcane Charge, you can teleport up to 30 feet after you elect to use your action surge. This can be done before or after the addition of the action.
So yeah, you action surge, then you teleport whatever way, make an attack, and then you still have your movement speed.
Yeah, or you've attacked someone, you want to attack again with action surge, and then use the 30 feet to teleport
to get out of there. It's so good. And then
go round.
I'm not trapped in here with you, you're trapped in here with me.
Yeah.
Gone.
Exactly.
And then level 18, you get improved war magic, which is the same as war magic. However, you can cast a leveled spell and still make a melee attack. Or a weapon attack. Which I love the sound of this. I think I'll definitely play an Eldritch Knight.
Oh, it'd be so much fun.
It's the answer to an Arcane Trickster, which is why I chose it when I play my rogue.
Yeah. Also, who does want to play Geralt?
It's Liam Hemsworth. Did I read that now? It was Henry Cavill.
It was Henry Cavill.
That's right.
Sad tears. The last number of subclasses that we've got, this starts to take you past the PHB and into books like Tasha's Cauldron of Everything, Xanathar's Guide to Everything. And then you've also got Adventure's Guide of the Sword Coast and Explorer's Guide to the Wild Mount. So, yeah, let's
go for the two, because the Tasha's Cauldron and Xanathar, I know those. The other two I was really unaware of, especially on the last one. Oh, you also missed this class, the Echo Knight. I was like, what the hell is... Absolutely no idea. He said that's good.
We'll explain why that doesn't come up as much, but yeah. So take it away, Psy Warrior.
Tasha's Cauldron of Everything. Psy Warrior, we did reference it a little second ago. Awaken the psionic power within. A Psi Warrior is a fighter who augments their physical might with a Psi-infused weapon strike, telekinetic lasses, and barriers of mental force. This, again, is Wikidot or RPGbot.net I got this from. It doesn't really give any logical reason. It just said you channel the energy and it just happens. It's like,
I think that's because stuff like that, the reason is whatever you can come up with. Maybe you're a fighter who has come into contact with something out of this world, otherworldly, that has a sort of, maybe you came in contact with a mind flayer. You escaped it, but it's had a lasting impression. Yeah. So that's where your psionic abilities come from. It could be that there was a rift.
Just Baldur's Gate 3.
Yeah. Maybe there was a rift situation and you put your hand in it because you're dumb and you think, oh, what's this? And what was the other side of the rift had some psionic energy, and
you're now I was going to say you now got Parasite. We're just writing Baldur's Gate 3.
But I just think it's really down to you what you want to do. And that's stuff where you can create force fields for you and the party. You can propel your weapons.
Which is why we were on about Thor.
Yeah.
And call it back.
And then you can fly.
You can fly. Level 7, you get the ability to fly.
Why not? It makes sense. If you look at people like Jean from X-Men.
Yeah.
Who has this psychic ability, and then all of a sudden she can just levitate and fly, and they're like, hell yeah.
My first thought was, when it case 4 fields for you in the party, you get like AC bonuses. I thought of Violet from The Incredibles.
Yes.
Yeah, I thought that. It's not quite the same, but the same kind of vibes go, and now you're protected.
Yeah. No, totally get it. Then you have Room Knight. I was a Room Knight, and I really enjoyed it. So this is where you're enhancing your martial powers using the supernatural power of runes, which are all through the giant race. Yeah. So somehow you are connected to the giant race, be it bloodline, I don't know, or somehow you've been imbued with their magic. It's really your call.
Quite cool, actually.
Yeah.
If it's in your bloodline and you're like the runt of the litter.
Well, think of it like when you think of a sorcerer, and you can have the dragon origin, you could be a human or any race and have that. Somehow you've got a dragon bloodline in you, and that's how your powers have awakened. There are many ways to look at it. You could be any race, and at some point someone from your bloodline got busy with giant.
Keep it a PG here.
Yeah, you know, death by Snoot Snoot and all that from Futurama.
Snoot Snoot.
Somehow that sort of situation happened, or a blood pact was made, and that is how it's transferred into your bloodline.
Yeah.
Or even if you look at a Goliath is meant to be like a species of giant. So if you are playing a Goliath fighter, that makes absolute sense.
Yeah, that's a good fit. That's a good.
And things like this, you pick runes as you go through your levels, and each runes have different effects. So I had a fire rune at one point, which basically I could attack someone, cause a little bit of extra damage with the fire, but also kind of unleash these fire chains that could bind them. And then if they were successful, they'd be bound, and then they would burn per round that they were bound.
Chip damage, I love that.
You've got cloud runes. I'm pretty sure there was a mountain rune, and they all had different effects.
There's 6 runes. There's ice.
Yes.
There's air. There's.
I think it's like a thunder or a storm rune.
Yeah.
And they're all to do with like the races of giants that you can get. And I just think it's cool. Again, you become proficiency. You get proficient in Smith's tools, and you can speak and read giant. You can use this. Giant Smite was a lot of fun. So you don't have to become large, but you can. If you are me, I was a Dragonborn, medium-sized sort of character. I like to get bigger. Like, I think Bane.
Clip that.
I think Bane in that situation where he hits the pump and it's just like, So yeah, so like you
extra damage.
So you take up a bit more space, and then you also, whether you become bigger or not, you gain extra damage to your attacks for as long as that runs. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. And then at higher levels, you get resistances and bonuses to skill checks and elemental damages on attack.
Yeah. Did you take runes as you go?
Yeah.
I love the idea of this. And I really, in my head, I have just gone runt of the litter. You've taken this, and then bloodline. Suddenly you're now fighting alongside the giants. I'm thinking a whole ass arc here, not gonna lie. You're now fighting alongside the giants and leading them into battle to prove your worth. I think I have my next character.
Yeah, honestly, I really enjoyed the Room Knight. And because of the Smith proficiencies, I kind of run wild with that, and that's where my Dragonborn came in. I was allowed to forge weapons as I went. Obviously, I had to find the correct materials. Yeah. But me and Tyler created a whole table where I was allowed to infuse my breath into the weapons, which could then affect what would happen to the weapon. And again, I would never know what breath was coming out until I rolled. So I rolled a necrotic breath at one point.
Ooh,
and made, I can't remember what, I'm pretty sure it was Georgia who came up with the nickname, but it was like a soul knife or something, just because it was a necrotic sword.
Yeah.
So it was doing extra necrotic damage on top, which is like, well, that seems very very soul steely to me. Oh, soul steely, it might have been that. But yeah, so I imbued it into this like rapier for her.
That's such a good little homebrew thing.
Yes.
That's very cool.
Yeah. Almost broke Tyler with all that, but we found an agreement and we made it work. I didn't get to do it loads because then I could probably break the game.
Oh yeah, so I'm gonna sit for 3 days and make everyone a weapon.
Yeah, but it was a fun way to do it. And then because Georgia was a gunslinger fighter,
Okay.
which is, I can't remember if that's technically more homebrew, but we took the gunslinger approach and, or is it critical role again? It could be. But took that approach. So to keep her bullets replenished kind of became part of my job.
Okay.
So I was still using my skills, but we had to make sure that we had the components for me to.
That's quite a good way to have party members interact, because sometimes there's just no proper interaction. It's all about what are we going to do in this fight?
Yeah.
How are we going to infiltrate this building? That's just a nice day-to-day interaction.
Yeah. And she could either go out and buy more, or I could do it for cheaper. Oh, I was charging. Unless we were in need and was like, okay, we need to get this done.
This is a fight thing, all right.
Now it's done. But yeah.
Yes, so those are the two from Tasha's Cauldron of Everything. Xanathar's Guide. These are some wild things.
Yeah.
These are a little bit more... Tasha's Cauldron, very magic related. This one, they've just gone a little bit of everything.
Kind of, yeah. Like Arcane Archer, the background of this subclass...
mentions elves
a
lot. It's like the elves will imbue the magic into your bow and your things. I was like, this is
Legolas.
This is the Legolas class.
Because Legolas is not a ranger that people think he is. Aragorn is the ranger out of the situation. He is, though, because he's the one who does all the tracking. He's the one who knows all the woodland stuff. And then Legolas is just a fighter whose fighting style is archery.
Yeah.
Add it with this, where he's got elven magic to boost himself, to give him like true sight and all that sort of stuff. This is your Legolas class. You're welcome.
So yeah, you imbue arrows with elven powers. How that happens, I don't know. That's for you and the DM to discuss. But it's stuff like you can manipulate arrows by doing like curve shots and stuff, like the friggin' Matrix.
Yep.
You can imbue them with like various powers and elemental damage, but you only get 2 arcane shots to begin with. So you can only do 2 of these powers.
Yeah.
You have to elect, I'm going to use an arcane shot to add this bonus to the thing. You can only do that twice, and scales as you go up.
But then again, at level 3, that's not bad.
Oh, no, absolutely not.
To get that level 3 and just be like, I can curve a shot so it does not miss. And then I can also add elemental damage, which is really great in a situation if you know an enemy and go, you're weak to fire.
Yeah.
This arrow now has fire in it. Thank you.
You can be a real showy bastard with this one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
After that, you have Cavalier.
I'm really sorry. I wrote the notes for this one. This is, you get trained on a mount.
You get a horse.
You get a Hans. But it's like you can defend your horse when you're on your horse or your mount. You have an advantage on saving throws. You can and all I thought was I played in 2 campaigns, running a campaign. Never come across a horse in my life. Jordan has a horse only because I funneled him towards it's a horse chase.
Yeah.
How often do you come across a mount?
Honestly, depends on characters. We've had NPC mounts. We've ridden mounts for the purpose of travel. You guys, before we took a break on mine, when I went on tour, had just received a cart with like 2 horse. No, you hadn't.
No, yeah. What? What's that?
Oh no, that was what I did before with the others. They got a cart with like 2 horses to pull the party around.
But this gives great imagery. It does all revolve around horse skill or mount skills, should I say, and you makes it easier to hit attacks and avoid attacks.
Yeah.
But again, this does seem like something you're going to have to say with the GM. At some point, I need to cross paths with something I can mount, please. That's a phrase.
Yeah.
Said
But
the bard.
also, at that point, if you're taking us at level 3, you're getting it. So it'd just be a case of story weaving to be like, you stopped in this city, and oh, there is a shiny horse. Oh, look,
Whoa.
discount.
I steal the horse. I cast animal friendship. Run away with me, friend.
Maybe you're in a fight with someone who has a horse. You see that it's abusing them and not treating them well, and you kill the owner because it's part of the fight anyway, and then go, I will treat you better.
Medieval RSPCA.
Yeah. There you go. Maybe that is your standpoint of a cavalier. If you do not treat a horse, you are not worthy. I will cut you down. That's a fun backstory. After that, you have the samurai. So the samurai, it's your ninja. It's your ninja version of a fighter. So samurai is a fighter who draws on the implacable fighting spirit to overcome enemies. A samurai's resolve is nearly unbreakable. And the enemies in the samurai's path have 2 choices. Yield or die. Yeah.
I got that from Wikidot and cited it here.
Yeah.
And again, it was a very bad description because I'm like, that's all classes.
Yeah.
Fight or die. But
it's Kill Bill. It is
you
Uma
are making some
Thurman.
fantastic pulls today.
Thank you. It is Uma Thurman, the bride, in Kill Bill. You get advantage on attacks. You can gain temporary hit points while scaling with your level. So your hit points are a cap, and then your temporary hit points go above. You do not have to be below your maximum to get temporary hit points.
And they intertwine. There's like one where it's like, hey, you get advantage, and also you within the same bracket.
Yeah.
Right.
And then you also get some wisdom saving throws, bonuses, and delaying your death at 0 hit points.
So when you hit 0 hit points, before you go into death saving throws, you can get 1 more round in before you go to death. You're on 0, you're going to the saving throws, you get 1 more action go.
Yeah, that's cool.
That which is crazy. Just player agency and at the table, that would be fantastic to roleplay. You go down, you go, the fight's not over yet.
Yeah.
And then everyone
very
goes, oh
samurai.
my God, he's got 1 more in him.
Yeah.
So good. So good. Now, these are 2 ones I've not heard about before last night. Educate me, Em.
Okay, so you've got the Baronet, which is from the Sword Coast. It's a knight who inspires greatness in others through committing brave deeds in battle. It's a leading role to the party type of character. So this class allows you to share your second wind with 3 allies.
Wow.
So
What?
So this, you get second wind at what level?
First.
Yeah.
1d10
which is
plus
where you
level.
recover 1d10. It doesn't quite work the same way, but 3 allies can heal HP up to the same level as your fighter level.
Okay.
So, in the moment, it might only be 1, but as you are leveling up, your maximum is 20. To heal 3 people by 20 points, but even to heal people by 5 points, by 3 points.
And you don't have to use all 3 at the same time. No, all 3 at the same time, but it doesn't have to be 3 people. So even if you just have 3 points to give everyone, it's
as in 3 allies will gain the exact same point
as you get.
No, you roll your 1d10.
Yep.
They just get a bonus of whatever your fighter level is in that moment.
Okay.
But they will get it no matter what.
Yep.
So if you're using it, you might as well just go, okay, I'm going to boost these 3 people. Be it 1 HP or 2 or 3. If everyone's just getting a little extra boost, why not? You also gain proficiency in persuasion, or if you do already have it, it allows you to choose from animal handling, insight, intimidation, or performance. And you can even share your action surge with others, as well as grant them an extra attack.
This is the commander class. This is leading the team. That's so cool. What were the proficiencies you could choose from?
So if you are already proficient in persuasion, then you can choose from animal handling, insight, intimidation, or performance. If you're not proficient in persuasion, you just get that.
So that is your choice there.
Yeah.
I mean, again, this is, if you already have proficiency in persuasion, this is massively related to how you role play.
Yeah.
You can bolster whatever you need.
Yeah.
That's some great options in that.
And then Echo Knight, which is Explorer's Guide to the Wildmount, which is Critical Role's book that they, got published by D&D themselves, or Wizards of the Coast, should I say. Here, you are manifesting the magic of the multiverse to summon shadows to take forms as your echoes of you. who can help you in battle. So here you can manifest an echo, which allows you to choose between using yourself to attack an enemy or your echo. So you manifest an echo, you can put it 30 feet away from
so there's a range. Okay.
Yeah. It is your turn. You can go, I'm going to attack, or my echo is going to attack.
Yeah.
So it just gives you that freedom to go, well, I can keep moving. My echo can distract. Done. Especially if it's like a time crunch situation. You can use your echo to take a hit instead of you or an ally.
Okay, that's very cool.
So basically, you can teleport your echo to be 5 foot next to someone, and then the attacker turns to them instead.
Do you know if that's a bonus action or reaction? That sounds like there could be a reaction.
I would say that's a reaction.
Yeah, to take a hit for someone else. Reaction.
You're reacting when someone is being attacked.
Yeah.
And then, one that I think is really cool, you, who is the Echo Knight, when you are at this level, I can't remember which one it is, it's decently high. When your Echo is destroyed, you can take its essence to heal yourself by 2d6 plus your con modifier.
That's not to be knocked at all.
No.
That could be more than bloody second wind at that, right?
Yeah.
That's very cool.
Yeah. I had a Echo Knight in my campaign before you guys.
I love imagery in D&D. I love to like picture the fight in my head. Whilst we don't operate theatre of the mind, we use battle maps. I love to picture what's going on, and just the thing of spawning an echo while you're running away from an enemy, and just hold them off, just take a hit, delay them 10 seconds while I love that.
Yeah.
It's also the fact that how many do you get? Is it one at a time, or can you spawn multiple?
I cannot remember from the top of my head. You definitely get one to start with. Let me have a quick look.
Because if that's the whole deal of an Echo Knight, then I'm assuming that scales with level, as most things do.
So you can maintain 2 echoes at a time.
Again, 2 echoes is, like you say, one to take hit, one to distract. If you send an echo in and just like, it's like astral self in a way.
Yeah.
But they can do stuff.
Exactly. And like the fact that there's you and maybe 2 others, I guess it's down to DM and a conversation between the player on how accurate they look of you, or if it's obvious that they're like shadow forms.
Yeah.
Because maybe they're used to distract and people have to try and figure out which one the real one is.
Which one do I shoot?
However, I would allow that if they were next to you, if someone was trying to attack you, it'd be disadvantaged to make sure that they are hitting you and not accidentally hitting it.
Which would then take a hit and disappear.
Yeah.
There we go.
And maybe heal you at the same time.
Ooh.
Yeah. Or you could, if they were next to you, you could just use them like, jump in front of me, mate.
Take for the team, lad.
I need a bit of a health bonus. You're going to jump in front. I've still got you.
Hold them off. Bye.
I would allow.
Disengage.
What is it called? Enemy.
Flanking.
I would allow flanking with an Echo Knight.
That's a lot of fun.
Because if there's, but both of you have to be either side.
Yeah. But that's again, if that's fantastic. I would love that. If they can attack, then you can do flanking.
Yeah.
Because like Unseen Servant can't really attack.
Yeah.
I wouldn't allow flanking with that. You don't have an attack maneuver.
Yeah.
So to be able to go get up close to someone and go, check behind you.
Yeah.
Flanking.
Yeah. Because you're the one who decides if you attack or they attack.
Yeah.
In your turn. So that's just a case of I'm a roll and he's the one who's going to do it, but we're helping each other out here.
That's a great maneuver. That's a fantastic maneuver.
Yeah.
There's a lot of good stuff for the fighter. Whilst we started this episode with, it's like a simpler barbarian. There's still a lot you can do with it.
There is.
There is.
If we talk pros and cons.
I think both a pro and a con, it's a simple class. It's a great way, just like you said with your nephews, to introduce. You don't have to think much. But then once you can do a lot of damage, it's a lot of the same damage. Unless you're taking like Eldritch Knight and stuff like that.
I guess it really depends on how you're going to play it.
Yeah.
So if you are someone who wants more variety and more role play aspects, then maybe consider a different class. But then every class is down to how you make it.
What happens at the table?
Yeah.
Like we said, you don't have to, with the sailor, sailor background, you don't have to have a rogue to be the infiltrator. You can be the infiltrator.
Exactly.
I think on paper, like I say, it sounds very simple, but then it's where you take bonuses from everything that can really help flesh this character out.
I do think what a bonus is, in terms of role play, if you have an idea what you want and your backstory for your character already, these subclasses have a very strong point of view in every single one and unique to each other.
Yeah.
So you can really find your path that you want to go down and go, this is clear cut, this is what I want to do, because this is everything it's given me. It's not, because some of the other subclasses start to like overlap in different ways. So then you're like, well, do I benefit more from this or from that? This is very clear. This is a path I'm going to take. So I'm going to do that one, or I'm going to do that one because it gives me this. But I think if you've written a backstory or just come with a general idea of what could have influenced your character, when you get to level 3 and
get to
it's
branch
probably going
out,
to be a bit easier.
Yeah, if you have, because like we say, it's a lot. It's all similar but different. You are doing damage in different ways. How did you get here? What's your backstory?
And then because of everything they can get, subclass or feature related, I think they're quite versatile.
Oh yeah,
you can design them to be any way or shape that you want, especially with like your fighting styles and whatnot. You really have, it's very customizable.
Yes, and if your DM is polite and can allow you to change little bits here and there, grand. I think the subclass I would take is the one you said that began with B. In the Sword Coast.
The Baronet.
Yeah. It's like battle, Baronet. Because that to me screams charisma and leading the charge. And it's like, let's get into battle, guys. Let's go. I think I would choose that one. That sounds like a lot of fun.
So before we close, let's rank. Where would this fall in your ranking? We do this every episode. We rank from 1 to 12, the standard 12 classes of the PHB.
So it's difficult because I've life. I've not been available for a couple of them. So I can't quite remember where I'm putting things. But I think fighter, I don't know why I like the idea of a fighter more than a barbarian.
Okay.
I don't know why. It's gonna be out of the basic 12, probably like 9,
That's
8,
fair.
9, kind of bottom middle.
Yeah, I get that.
I kind of, it's a one-trick pony, but it can be fun if the situation arises.
Totally get you. So I'd kind of formulated my list already, and I'd put this at 10 and Rogue at 9, but I'm actually going to swap them round. Because I'd pick a fighter before Rogue. I've played a fighter. I enjoy it. These rankings on what is best, it's like
what we
personal preference.
Yeah, what we enjoy.
I love my magic users, so they're typically going to be high.
Yep.
Although you weren't there for it, but we did Warlock. Warlock is 11 for me.
Really? Other than you get like 2 whole spell slots, whoopee.
Yeah. Yeah, we covered that.
Why?
But fighter I've played, I had a great time with, and because of the options of subclasses, I think there's different avenues that I could go down and really enjoy. Rogue for me, I'm not really and never have really been that bothered about being the sneaky character. I had a ranger who could do some of that, and still I didn't lean into it as much because it just wasn't the side that I enjoyed as much as the other stuff I enjoyed.
You are a loud and proud person, so I think you seem like you really enjoy the role-play aspects around the table, so to be the guy who just sneaks around the back and tries to avoid it, doesn't sound like you.
Yeah. So I'd put fighter as 9.
Yeah. Okay, that's fair, fair. Because it's a martial class, you hit stuff hard and fast. Other than that, it's up to the individual to make it what it's going to be. I completely understand that, right?
Yeah.
That's
fair. As we said, it is not what is a better or worse class. It is purely what we would come to pick up first from looking at this and what we'd want to play the most.
Because I do want to rank that higher. Maybe I do rank that higher because think about what we have.
By the end of it, we can look at the entire list and go, actually, do we swap these around?
Yeah.
We can do that. But yeah, that is us for today at the BBEG podcast. Now you can find us for the podcast on YouTube, on Google Podcast, Amazon Podcast, Spotify Podcast. If you have any questions, you can reach us on any of our social medias, which does include YouTube, but also Instagram, X, formerly known as Twitter, TikTok, and Facebook, all under the BBEG Podcast. And you can even email us at the bbegpodcast@gmail.com. Literally any questions, anything you want to talk about, send it our way. We're always up for a chat or a discussion, or leave us a comment on any of our socials. But yeah, that is it from us today. Enjoy your evening or your day whenever you're watching this. And
you rehearsed that, didn't you?
No, I didn't.
Oh! What was that? There's a reason I don't do the sign-offs.
No. I guess this is the only pro point of being a performer, is that just stuff like that.
Improv.
My head. Yeah.
It's all improv.
But yeah. So bye, guys.
Bye.